Last Sunday, as Joe Montana and the San Francisco 49ers took to the field in Cleveland, they had their hands full just staying warm enough to take on the Browns. Against Paul McDonald, though, the frigid 49er defenders treated the ball as if it was too hot to handle. But it was the Browns who didn't thaw out until late in the fourth quarter when they earned their only touchdown of the game. While volleyball might be Cleveland's game, football was what San Francisco came to play, and they served up some potent offensive strikes, including Roger Craig's 20-yard touchdown. Running backs keyed San Francisco's attack not only in scoring points, but in setting up scores as well, as Bill Ring, number 30, illustrated with his perfect read of a safety blitz. Freddie Salomon, number 88, hauled in the short and the long of it from Joe Montana, who fired 2 scoring passes against the stubborn Browns defense, which had given up only 1 touchdown in the previous 3 games. Salomon and the Niners proved they certainly didn't have cold feet against the Browns as they piled up 450-plus yards for the 4th straight game in the 41-7 win. The San Diego Chargers are another team with a torrid offense, and even against one of the most opportunistic defenses in the league, they came out smoking. Despite Charlie Joyner's 25-yard snare of a Dan Fouts pass, it didn't take long for the Broncos, playing like the Orange Crush of old, to stamp out the Chargers' fire. The Broncos' proficient aerial thieves nabbed another one to extinguish San Diego's hopes of ending Denver's 8-game winning streak. Then, with 38 seconds remaining, Sammy Winder iced Denver's 16-13 victory. Winder's touchdown provided Denver with another late-game lift as the Broncos earned their 5th come-from-behind win of the season. They now sit alone atop the AFC West for the first time since 1981. Alone atop the AFC East is a more familiar spot for the unbeaten Miami Dolphins, whose numbers grow even more imposing with each passing opponent. They were understandably surprised when this week's victim, the Eagles, flew into town with the ridiculous notion of beating the Dolphins at their own game. But the Eagle offense shifted into high gear from the start, and when Mike Quick's number was called, he lived up to his nickname, Quick Six. The Eagles were to enjoy quite a few end-zone high fives on the day, as Ron Jaworski had his team rolling up the numbers at an astonishing pace. Tony Woodruff's 13-yard reception put Philadelphia ahead 14-0, while their fired-up defense forced Dan Marino to scan the field from an unfamiliar position. But Marino is the master at getting a leg up on his competition, and although the Eagles were undoubtedly playing their best game of the season, unfortunately it was against the best team in football, and it soon showed. The Dolphins struck back with 24 points, ignited by Tony Nathan's 11-yard reception. But just when it looked like Miami's magic was once again at work, with less than 2 minutes to play and the Eagles down by 7, Jaworski made one final grab into his own bag of tricks. Melvin Hoover's disappearing act between 2 Dolphin defenders into the end zone miraculously brought the Birds to within 1. Securing the tie hinged on rookie Paul McFadden, who hadn't missed an extra point conversion since his junior year in college. But all good streaks must someday come to an end. And on this day, the ill-fated streak was to be McFadden's, not the Dolphins. Defensive end Doug Betters blocked the extra point attempt and delivered the final knockout blow to Jaworski, who had kept the Dolphins on the ropes for much of the game, while the Eagle defense held the Miami offense to their lowest output of the season. Mind-boggling would aptly describe the Eagles' performance against the 11-0 Dolphins, but there is still no doubt as to who's number 1. And 1 is a number that Miami doesn't want to see chalked up on their record for the rest of the season. Last Sunday at New England, the winless Bills came out of the gate looking like giant killers. Buffalo went up 7-0 on Preston Denard's 68-yard touchdown reception. But the Patriot pass rush, led by number 56, Andre Tippett, soon laid to rest any notion Joe Ferguson had of engineering an upset. Tippett registered 2 of New England's 8 sacks, and with no such pressure being applied to the talented Tony Eason, the overmatched Bills secondary was easily picked apart. Eason threw for 3 touchdowns as the Patriots broke open a 10-10 third-quarter deadlock by scoring 28 unanswered points. New England prevailed 38-10, and by raising their record to 7-4, the Patriots' chances for an AFC wildcard playoff berth stayed very much alive. At the Meadowlands, the monsoon-like conditions were so severe that nearby Newark Airport had to be temporarily closed. And like those planes that couldn't fly, the weather kept the Jets' offense grounded. Before Jet quarterback Pat Ryan was able to find a warm and dry place in the locker room, he suffered a concussion, and it was obvious that he probably stayed in one play too many. Actually, neither team could generate much offense in the soggy going, but it was a Colt player who turned in the catch of the day. In a game that featured no touchdowns, the Colts came away with a 9-5 victory that even brought a smile to the normally stern-faced Frank Kush. Well, why not? At this point in the season, Indianapolis can only play the role of spoiler in the AFC East. And by handing New York its 3rd straight defeat, the Colts certainly slew whatever chance the Jets had of making the playoffs. In Cincinnati, the Steelers had a chance to put the Bengals away for good and all but clinch an AFC Central title with a victory. But that opportunity slipped away as easily as this Mark Malone pass. The Bengals could have raced out to an early 10-0 lead when Lewis Breeden snared this errant Steeler throw. But getting the ball into the end zone has been a Bengal problem all year long. It was also a problem on this play. Ultimately, Cincinnati rebounded from this touchdown-turned-touchback. And in the game's final minute, nobody was able to strip the ball from Larry Kinnebrews' grasp. Kinnebrew, all 268 pounds of him, punched his way into the end zone to give Cincinnati a come-from-behind 22-20 victory. After dropping their first 5 games, Cincinnati has won 4 of 6. And they may yet upset the Steelers' hopes of streaking away to another AFC Central title. The last time the Houston Oilers found a way to win on the road, Ronald Reagan was still serving his first year as president. But unlike the man who was heavily favored in the presidential polls, the Oilers were not at all expected to win last week. Fortunately for Houston, though, Kansas City's offense had all the bumbling aspects of a Walter Mondale campaign. With the Chiefs scoring about as many points as Mondale did electoral votes, Warren Moon made it incumbent upon himself to perform the task he was chosen to do when he was given a $1 million mandate in Houston. This pass to Tim Smith set up one Oilers score, while Jamie Williams' 2-yard reception provided another. It was not a landslide of Reagan proportions, but the Oilers did hold on 17-16 for their first win of the year. Of course, Kansas City is not exactly an NFL power, but then any Houston victory must be considered an upset. And on this day, the Oilers aptly played role of David to the Chiefs' Goliath, proving that they can indeed be giant killers. If Falcon head coach Dan Henning was magician Doug Henning, he would wave a healing wand over injured Steve Bartkowski, Billy Johnson, and William Anders. 84% of Atlanta's total offense. But against New Orleans, magic turned tragic as the crippled Falcons lost their 5th straight. Obi Brenner's sleight of hand accounted for a Saint touchdown. And when veteran R.C. Thielman failed to cut off blitzing Whitney Paul, number 51, Mike Morawski found himself in a spot not even Harry Houdini could have escaped from. Daring blitzes are a Saint trademark, but against Atlanta, New Orleans' conservative offense got bold on 4th and 1, as another Brenner TD catch helped beat the hard-luck Falcons 17-13. Tampa, the Giants didn't need trickery or abracadabras to get the jump on the Bucks. All they needed was Phil Simms' strong right arm. Zeke Mowat's catch gave the visiting Giants a 10-3 lead, and then Lawrence Taylor and company fed quarterback Steve DeBerg a steady diet of bone-crunching blitzes. Blitzing corners, blitzing safeties, and blitzing backers thoroughly confused the Bucks. So much so that on one occasion, guard Glenn Bushnock pulled out and leveled teammate Adger Armstrong, and blitzing Gary Reasons buried James Wilder. One way to beat the blitz is the quick pass, which is exactly what Steve DeBerg audibled deep in Giant territory. Wide-open Kevin House helped the Bucks to a 10-10 tie, and a pair of House diving catches helped Tampa Bay to a 20-10 lead late in the game. Simms brought his Giants to within 3 when he found Bob Johnson with just over a minute left. But unfortunately for Giant fans, the Bucks held on to win 20-17. The Vikings of military-minded head coach Les Steckel are a tough bunch. When one man goes down in battle, another steps in and continues the attack. Number 87, Leo Lewis, and his teammates tried everything to avert their 6th loss in 7 games. And at times it looked like they were all at once trying to dive on a live grenade in order to save their comrades. For 3 quarters, Minnesota played Green Bay even up as tight end Steve Jordan, number 83, and running back Alfred Anderson helped the Vikings draw even at 17 apiece. Minnesota's intensity was no match, however, for 513 total yards of offense, as the Packers simply decided that their winning streak would not be ended at 2. Paul Kaufman, Jesse Clark, and number 31, Gary Ellis, all lent a hand as a 17-17 thriller wound up a 45-17 Green Bay rout. Lynn Dickey and James Lofting combined on a 63-yard score, and Green Bay's 3rd straight win was in the bag. Who knows, with a little hocus-pocus and a magical spell or two, maybe, just maybe, the Packers can catch the division-leading Bears and pull a playoff spot out of the hat. 240-pound John Riggins is the man the Redskins call on to break the backs of the opposition. But last Sunday, it was Riggins' bad back that forced him to the sidelines. Against the Lions, his replacement, Keith Griffin, number 35, took the kind of abuse Riggo is accustomed to. But unlike the Diesel, Griffin looked more like the little engine that could. But the diminutive rookie used his 185 pounds to run up some Riggins-like numbers, 32 carries for 114 yards. Another seldom-used running back, Otis Wansley, number 39, filled Riggins' short yardage shoes with 3 touchdowns as the Redskins opened a 28-0 lead. And the Washington defense did their part to defuse Detroit. When number 77, Darrell Grant, tied up 2 blockers, it allowed Dexter Manley to sidestep the roadblock and record one of his 3 sacks on the day. By this time, the game had all the tension of a broken tennis racket. But Detroit did string together 2 third-quarter drives that ended in touchdowns. One by fullback James Jones, number 30, and another on a pass from Gary Danielson to tight end Rob Rubik, number 84. The Lions fell short 28-14, while the Redskin win tied them for first in the NFC East with the winner of the Cowboy-Cardinals matchup in St. Louis. After Cardinal quarterback Neil Lomax connected with Pat Tilley on a 15-yard get-up-and-go, the score stood knotted at 7-0. Then the Cowboys rallied behind their quarterback of the week, Gary Hogeboom, to take the lead at halftime on a touchdown toss to James Jones, number 23. Trailing 17-7, St. Louis struck back with a field goal and a Lomax to Randy Love scoring pass with an assist from the Cowboys' Randy White, number 54. With the score tied again and with the momentum swinging in St. Louis's favor, Lomax looked long to the man they called Jetstream, Roy Green. But there was a yellow flag thrown in Green's vapor trail for offensive pass interference. The touchdown was called back, and the Cardinal comeback was turned back by a Dallas defense that forced 6 St. Louis turnovers. One of those turnovers set up the game winner, a touchdown pass from Hogeboom to Ron Springs. Dallas 24, St. Louis 17. So the Cowboys are back in first place, despite their season-long battle with conflict and controversy. It is another story altogether in Los Angeles, where the Rams enjoy an owner-coach relationship that is unparalleled in all of sport. Displays of on-field affection have startled some hard-line Ram rooters, but no more than the progress of their quarterback, Jeff Kemp. Kemp has moved from obscurity to a position of prominence, and with every game, he's thrown further downfield to a group of speedy wide receivers that include Ron Brown on one side and Henry Ellard on the other. Ellard's wrestling match with the Chicago Bears secondary earned him a takedown worth 6 points and brought the Rams to within a point of the Bears midway through the third period. Kemp threw the ball just 15 times and preferred to rely on ground support from running backs Eric Dickerson and Dwayne Crutchfield, number 45. Dickerson's 2 short touchdown runs and 149 yards rushing helped the Rams to a 29-13 win that left both teams at 7-4. Nevertheless, the Bears have a comfortable 3-game edge in the NFC Central, while the Rams are 3 games behind the 49ers in the NFC West. but still squarely in the hunt for a wild card playoff berth. In fact, after 11 weeks, 18 NFL teams are still in contention for 10 playoff spots.